So, welcome to the Life Taco podcast. My good friend, singer-songwriter Juda Fernandez. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. How about you?
Good. What have you been up to lately?
Up to lately, doing a little bit a lot. I've been focusing a lot on work. That's kind of my go-to bread and butter right now. But pays off with these things. So I work for these, right? I'm a big Star Wars fan, and my collection grows a little bit bigger every time, right? Yeah.
So, yeah, you love Star Wars. Do you like the latest episodes?
It's difficult. Um, I don't know. Have you ever seen like the fans of Star Wars? They got into this big debate. They're like, "Nah, if you like these movies, you're not a fan or whatever." I mean, I get it too, but I mean, they're all right. They're definitely not to the standard of Star Wars, in my opinion. Since Disney got it at least, but the new series, The Mandalorian. My God, that's just amazing for me. That's by far my favorite right now. But the new
Yeah.
episode, kind of.
My roommate loves The Mandalorian. I saw like the first episode. I'm not that into it yet, but we'll see.
You should, you should. Got a lot of people into it. You remember my sister? Even she got into it now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, yeah, George Lucas, he said that he had like a whole idea for the next 3 episodes, and he gave it to Disney, and they were like, "No."
Yeah, I heard. They made a big debate on that. They were like, we should. A lot of the fans were like, should we even watch it now? Right? They're like, they bought it off, and now they don't want to hear his input like at all, right? But I'm not sure if this whole thing is true. But after they released like most of the movies and the last one, they brought him back like for his opinion. They're like, we need your help. Like, get us. We need your help to save it back, right? So they got his input, and he brought a lot back, like a little bit more of Luke, since they kind of destroyed him in the first of the new trilogy. It was not the Luke that everyone was used to. He kind of brought it back to be like a more like a Force ghost. So it was nice to see that he put his input at least at the end, right? Kind of saved it a little bit.
Yeah, because the first two, it's like the first one they build him up and they build him up, and he was talking about it, and he was like, I'm so excited. I'm like, I know I'm gonna come in here, and he's like, I don't come in here. And he's like, I know I'm gonna fight here. No, he's like, and then at the very end, there he is, and then like in the next one, he's like, I don't know, he's just like weak, like
Yeah,
astral projecting himself like kills him.
I know, and everyone hated it. Even he hated it. Like when he talks about it, he's like, "Yeah, I mean, Luke would not say what I said." He's like, "But I had to do it, right?" So, and then, watch The Mandalorian, and there's a lot of more things there that bring his character a little bit back, like to the whole story of Star Wars. It brings a little bit more back into it, and it makes everything a lot better. They tried to correct what was in the last 3 episodes, right? But yeah, now he's a little bit more happy, right? But back then, I remember seeing his tweets. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in the movie, but not what I wanted to." But all right, I'll take it, right?
Yeah, did you see the hour-long like thing they have on YouTube where it's like a compilation where he's just like roasting it like
Yeah,
over and over?
and all the Comic Cons, all the Star Wars Celebration things. He's always there. He's like, "We don't talk about those last 3 episodes." He's like,
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, so I know you because you're originally, well, you're not originally, but you did live in Georgia, and I was friends with your brother, and and then you all moved to Guatemala. Did you originally live in Guatemala and then you moved to Georgia and then back, or were you like born in Georgia?
no, I was born in Guatemala, but I left when I was 7, 9 months old, something like that. But so I grew up in the States, right in Atlanta, and came back when I was like 11. So most of like my childhood is Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, was that like a kind of a big culture shock for you, like growing up in the U.S. and then you're in Guatemala?
Man, yeah, it's like if you were to move to Guatemala, actually, because I spent my whole life in the States, right? So moving over, it was a big difference. Like Spanish was, I was very, very, very rusty. So I had to come in, and over here they teach English, right? So you go into a class and they have their own English period. They would bring me out of that English period, and they were like, "Hey, we have a Spanish tutor for you." I was like, "All right, let's learn some Spanish, right?" And my English teachers always hated me. They were like, "Nah, he knows." They're like, "We can't have him in the class." So they would do whatever activity to get me out, right? I would take it. I'm like, "All right." whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, what were some of the big differences between Guatemala, or what are some of the big differences, I guess, between there and the U.S.?
Ooh, man. The things that I miss the most are like food, like fast food chains. It's not as big over here as it is over there. Like I remember Bojangles, like, oh man, that's Zaxby's. That used to be my thing. Um, there's none of that here. Like the closest thing that we have was KFC, and KFC over there I wouldn't like it, but over here it tastes a lot better because I think it's the only option, right? So it's like, eh. Um, but yeah, there's like that. Like we have like McDonald's and shit like that, but it's not as much as it was in the States, like with all the easy access to Arby's and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, so I do miss that. But yeah, the other big thing is it's not very well, depending on where you are, it gets to be kind of dangerous here, right? And it's a big difference. I remember in the States, you would go out, with your friends, you would just go for a walk, you would take your bike and whatever, you're free to do whatever. Over here, it's very, very like everyone has like a known thing to not take out their phone on the street, like just in case. It's not like every time you're gonna go out, someone's gonna jump you or whatever. But it is a thing, and a lot of people get robbed over here. Like when I came here, the first week I got jumped on. Like me and my mom, we were driving this Sienna, right? And we get a knock on her window, and this guy puts a gun to her head, and he's like, the phone. And we had just moved over, right? So our phones were not like we couldn't use them with the operators over here, like like AT&T. We have a different one over here, so we couldn't use it. So we had these like little flip phones, and we gave him the flip phone. He's like, I don't want this, and he just throws it, right? And he's like, give me another phone, right? And at that moment, I felt another gun to my head on the other side. I'm like, man, I was terrified, right? Because in the States, I never had this experience and never heard about things like this, right? And I was like, all right, here's my phone. It's another flip phone. They threw it to the ground too. And my mom gets so nervous, she lets go of the brake, and we get into this other taxi driver who's in front, and we just crash into him a little. Like it was in traffic, right? So it's not a strong crash, but the guy gets out and he's all pissed, and he brings out a fucking shotgun. And we're like, oh man, like it's not only the people jumping us, but not the guy in front is also like mad. And he comes out, and the guys on the bikes that are like robbing us, right? They get scared and they just leave. And he just looks at us. He's like, were you guys being robbed? We're like, yeah, you're being robbed. He's like, he looks at his car. He sees nothing. He's like, all right, just go, right? They're like, all right, thank you. And I remember telling everyone, was like, we just got robbed. What is that? And they're like, oh yeah, I've been robbed like twice this year. I'm like, yeah, I've been robbed once. I'm like, yeah, I was robbed last year actually. Everyone has their story, and it's like it's so common here that people take it like it's the normal thing when it shouldn't be, right? But yeah.
Why is it like that?
How so?
Like, why? No, why is it like that? Like,
Oh,
just because,
it's
like, are there less like authorities around, or is it like more?
The authorities really don't care. I mean, like they don't get paid a lot, right? So, like if you get paid half of a normal salary, then they're not really gonna risk their lives for anything, right? And so they see something, they look the other way, or they're paid, right? Like easily paid, so that they don't do anything. It's rare when you see a cop here do something right, and there are a lot of stories like there are like these traffic stops that they put up, and there are a lot of people who have these stories where they put weed in their car or they put whatever in their car, and then they're like, all right, so unless you give me like $100, then well, equivalent in Qs, right, in quetzales, then we're gonna say that was in your car, and you really can't do anything. So it's like, all right, here's your $100. And that's the image people have here of cops as well, right? So it's like not only fear the people that rob you, but know that there's like no cops here to really back you up.
Well, that sounds horrible.
I guess you get used to it, right? Because I don't look at it that bad as I did before. But I remember coming in, I was like, how can you all live in a place where you're used to getting robbed? I'm like, that's just astonishing for me. But now I'm used to it. So it's like I go out, I know my phone's in my pocket. If there's a red light, put your phone in your pocket. Doesn't matter. Your window's up. And I've never been robbed again. But and it's been a long time, right? Like about 10 years. But I still have that custom, right? And everyone has that custom. Even with people you just meet, when they go to a red light, they just put my phone in my pocket.
I think I would be like, okay, y'all can send me back.
Yeah.
Funny. It's kind of funny. Your mom, like when I was the first time I was at your house, she she was only speaking Spanish, and they would like translate to her and stuff. And I was like, huh, that's weird. Like, because you all knew English. And then
Yeah.
later on, Esteban's talking on the phone, and I hear her voice talking like plain English, and I'm like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, she just didn't want to talk to you or something like that. Like, I was like, really? She was pretending to not know English, so she didn't have to talk to me.
I did not know that story. I, yeah, she knows English. She's decent at it. She doesn't have like the accent like a lot of others have, but she's decent at it. I didn't know on that story.
I was wondering, I'm like, does she do this for all of his friends or just me? It's so funny. But yeah, so you have a few tattoos from Star Wars too. Like, yeah, can you put up to like the camera? Because they're pretty cool. I don't know if there's any way to show them or what. Yeah, Darth Maul. And
Yeah, I got a Darth Maul, and I have like a thing from each trilogy. So I have Empire Strikes Back. So it's Darth Vader versus Luke, and then I have Obi-Wan versus Anakin. I'm not sure if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
And then in the back, I have a tiny little thing of Rey versus Kylo Ren.
Dang.
And then I have like the symbols, right? So Rebellion and the Jedi Order, and then the Empire logo, and of course the Darth Maul that you see here.
Yeah, those are badass.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Where'd you get the like? Just did you like really research like to make sure they were like really good tattoo artists?
I did. There's this artist over here that's called Sergio Sosa, and he's a Star Wars fan, right? So he does a few Star Wars tattoos, and he's really good. I like his illustrations and everything. But the thing that convinced me the most is that he's a fan. So he would do honor to the piece, right? It's not just, oh, just copy the image. It's just, I know what goes where. I know what goes in the eye. I know what goes here. And I remember going up to him. I went with my girlfriend, and we were still talking about Star Wars the whole time. You're like, yeah, I remember this episode, remember that episode. He was like, I remember the eyes of Darth Maul had like yellow on them. Let me put that on because of this. And so he's very true to the artist, right? And of the whole Star Wars genre. And I really loved it. And well, I mean, I like tattoos. My family doesn't. As you can see, like all the others, none of my family had tattoos. But I really do like them. And I have a resistance to the pain for some reason. Like every time I get a tattoo, like we had to do it like in 2 sessions or 3 sessions. That's what they tell me, right? Because it's just you're getting in spots that like the elbow, it's just supposedly hell, right? I'm like, well, let's try it out. Let's do it in 1 session. And they start. I really don't really feel like any pain. It's just like a little pin like drawing on me. And when they're like halfway through, they're like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, you don't need a chocolate. You don't need water." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And they finish it, especially the elbow. It was good. The one piece that did hurt was like in Darth Maul. There's like this black area right here. That was the last tiny bit that was in. So we did from here, and then we wrapped around, and the last piece was this. So like all of the pain was just like concentrated here, and that's the only part that actually hurt from all the tattoos. And the guys were just like, "You're mad. How did you do this in 1 session?" They're like, "I would have done it in 3 sessions. Like, are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And the guys are like happy. Like, if you want to get another tattoo, come here. We do it in 1 session, and you have good skin, you have good tolerance. We do it. I'm like, all right, thank you.
Do your family like hate your tattoos?
Yeah, I remember my sister. What's it called? I had her like blocked from Instagram, and I uploaded the first tattoo, and we work at the same company, and one of my supervisors at the time was like, "Hey, have you seen your new brother your tattoo your brother's new tattoo?" And she's like, "What?" he's like, "Yeah, he just uploaded." And I remember her calling my mom and everything. It's like, "What the hell?" It's like he got a tattoo, and they're like, "Yeah, he got a tattoo." And my parents didn't approve, but my dad actually accompanied me for the first tattoo. Because we got it every time I get it, it's like the midnight or the day before the screening of the new movie, right? So I go in until midnight. It was like 11:30. They finished the tattoo, and then at 12 I had the premiere. So I went with my dad, right? And he was like, "All right, I'll take you to the tattoo." He's like, "I don't approve, but let's go," right? So he sat there the whole time, and then we went to the movie with like my arm wrapped in plastic. And so I remember being on the news that day. They were like, can we like record it? They're like, "You're such a fan." I'm like, "All right, sure, go ahead," right? And so it was a pretty good thing. It has a good story.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, when did you first start singing? Because I don't remember you singing when I was in Georgia.
Oh man. Well, I always sing. to be honest, I always sang. I would never sing it like publicly, like in big groups or whatever, because I never thought like I was good, you know. Well, I never compared myself to anyone, right? So I had no frame of reference. I would just do piano. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember playing piano since I was like 6 years old. When about to go to Guatemala, I started listening to Jason Mraz, if you know that artist, and he came up with this song. I forgot what it's called. Ah man, I don't remember what it's called. But he came up with a really good groovy song, and it really got to me. So I was like, I started singing with a few friends, and they're like, "Dude, you're really good." I'm like, "You think?" Yeah. And a lot of people were like, "All right, you should start like singing a little bit more." And I like singing, so I was like, "All right." So as long as it's not bad, it doesn't really affect you. So I'm like, I'm gonna start singing. I started learning guitar when I came here to Guatemala. A cousin of mine, when I came, first time meeting her and everything, she was like, "Hey, I have this guitar, right? I never learned how to play it. Do you want to try?" I'm like, "Sure." And she's like, "You can have it." I'm like, "Are you serious?" She's like, "Yeah." So I spent like a whole week learning how to play it, and then that became like my main thing. And I don't know if you've ever played and sung before, but playing an instrument and singing at the same time at first is like a challenge, right? Because it's like two different things, two different rhythms and things. So it was very difficult. But I started singing and playing guitar probably when I was like 11, 12. And up to here, uh, I liked writing and things. So I have these few chords that I really like. And every now and then it's like, all right, let me just try to see what comes out from it. And I kind of write snippets. And those ideas come adding up little by little until I get like a song. And then like my Instagram, I upload a lot of it. And it's mainly just for fun, but I do really like it. And I don't think I'm half bad, right? So yeah.
You're really good. Have you took lessons, like
No,
singing lessons? No,
no,
that's
I've
crazy.
never taken any lessons or anything, man. I don't know. I think that's something that was given, right? So for piano and guitar, it was, well, guitar is a little bit different. Guitar, I did like look up like YouTube videos like for the chords, and then like after like 5 videos, I went through, right. Piano I learned by ear, and then singing was just like it's just natural, and I never learned like the positioning like or whatever. It's just whatever comes out, and it's all right. So yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I tried to learn piano and couldn't do it. I also tried drums for not not like so I tried piano like really trying, and then I got my friend to show me drums, and he was like, "Look, it's really easy," and I'm like, "It's not." But
Drums is another level. I can't do drums. Like I always tell everyone, piano is like you have a left hand for like the low notes, right hand for the high notes, and you have like different rhythms. But with the drum, you have different rhythms on your right foot, your left hand, and your right hand. So it's just separating the four rhythms, and that's I have respect for that. I can't do that. Well, I haven't been able to, right? But yeah.
are you hearing all these gunshots or no? Because
Wow.
like
No.
I my neighbor, I guess, is like, I don't know what he's doing. We live in a suburb, but it sounds like he's like murdering somebody or something. I'm like, he doesn't usually do this. He usually just plays loud rock music and like this is super obnoxious, but he doesn't usually shoot guns.
Wow. We're talking about danger and everything. Watch us be in the news afterwards.
Like I have no idea what he's doing over there. But yeah, so so do you have any like professional ambitions then, like to put your music out like professionally ever? Or
I would like it. I mean, it's not something. I mean, it's like every kid's dream, right? Like if you could like get a living out of that and start sending your music like to other people to start listening to them. I mean, I would love that. It's just I don't know. It's I find it very difficult, right? Well, I haven't tried, but the way it seems, it's like a 1 in a million shot, right? The way that they plant it, so it's kind of a kind of mixed thing. I remember the last time I thought about it, a lot of people were like, just upload your music to Spotify or whatever, and that's good, right? But I had to record it like professionally, and that thing had to go. I had to make the time, and the last time I was going to, this guy is like, "Hey, I have this crew that like does videos, right? They do videos for companies that are the equivalent of like AT&T over here. We call it Deal, and they do their commercials, and they're very interested in like making a music video, like." Would you be interested? Well, you have to hire them, of course, but they're like half price and whatever. I'm like, sure, let me see what they have. And we got in contact, and the guy was like, dude, your song. I had just written a new song. He's like, it's very good. I can't believe you're Guatemalan. This is gonna blow and whatever. He's like, what do you have an idea for the video? What can we do? And we made like this whole storyboard of the video, what we were gonna do, where we were gonna film it, and like the budget was very expensive, but I mean it was doable, right? And it was like nice. We had the whole plan, and right when we were like in the middle of this whole planning thing, COVID, and everything just like the filming spots got like closed down, and like we had like this scheduling hour that we couldn't go after a certain time. We had to get back home, and it was just lockdown for everyone. So it became very, very difficult, right? So we kind of put it on pause, and then ever since, I mean, we haven't really talked again. But that was kind of like the plan. I did want to publish a video for one of my songs at least, right? Just spread it out, see how it goes. But of course, not only the budget and then not lockdown and COVID and everything, it just all piled up, right? So yeah.
How much does that budget look like?
Let me look
Like
for the
ballpark.
equivalent in dollars. It's about 5,000 Qs. So let me go 5,000 quetzales. The dollars is about $700. It's not
Oh,
bad.
yeah, that's not that bad. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
Is that something you're gonna try to revisit then? Like later on, you gonna message that guy or something?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, I would love it. I mean, who wouldn't, right? And being the star of your own video, it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And your own song, right? So yeah, I would definitely look into it in the near future. I do have to save up again because like my money went to this. And yeah, I definitely do want to do that in the future and share it as much as I can, right? Kind of nervous about it, but you never know.
Cool. Yeah. And you'll be on this podcast. It has a decent little following, and I think it's gonna get bigger and bigger because like I'm having some pretty big people on here. So,
That's how do you do that, by the way? Like I've seen you got a lot of people in like The Voice and like presidential candidates. It's like wow, like dang.
So Richard Ojeda, I just sent him because I was going through West Virginia. I sent him a message on Facebook. I'm like, hey, I'm passing through West Virginia. Like, I know this is kind of weird, but could I possibly like meet you as I pass through? And he's like, yeah, come to my house. And he gave me his address, and it's a huge house. And literally, me and my friend that were going through there, we came there, and he talked about travel and politics all day long. And then he was like, well, his wife came in. She's like, I have way too much food. Y'all can stay for dinner.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, but she didn't even eat. And she had like this huge amount of food. And it was like, she literally just cooked it for us and for him. Like, that's what it was. She was like, she was acting like it. She just happened to cook it, but she obviously cooked it for us. And like, we were there for like 5 hours, just like talking to this senator and presidential candidate.
Man, that's a out of nowhere scenario, man. Just literally try it and you got it. That's really nice.
Yeah, he said that. He's like, a lot of people will do that. They don't really think I'm going to, and then like he does, and he's like, I just think like if you're a politician, you should be in touch with the people that you're kind of working for and stuff. He's like, you're not from West Virginia, but he's like, you're gonna put this out that we did this, and it's gonna be good for us, and he's like, it's good for you. And he's like, it's just, and he's like, and it's fun, so why not? And then.
Nice.
Other ones I just reach out to, I'll message on Instagram, and some of them won't answer on Instagram, and but I'll look up stuff about them, and I'll find like their management, and so I'll email them, and we'll just talk in emails and stuff. So it's really not that hard.
Man, that's nice. And how did you like get into this whole idea? What made this spark that made this happen?
Well, I've kind of like I've wanted to for when I saw Ojeda, like I mentioned it to him back then, like a year ago. And like, I don't know, I worked at that boarding school in Missouri. I don't know how much you probably haven't kept up too much with that, with my little ongoings or whatever. But I worked at that boarding school, and like the staff come from all over the U.S. to work there. And then the kids come from all over the U.S. because their parents send them there. They're like troublemakers. They don't want them to go to jail. And so like this is like their last stop before they end up in like real serious trouble. And like, so but they're super interesting and fun and crazy and stuff. And they also come from like really rich families. Like their parents pay like $6,000 a month for them to be there.
Oh, wow.
So, like they have cool connections too. And it's like, So pretty much anytime I want to go somewhere, like in the US, like if I don't want to pay, I can just be like, hey, can I come to your house? And like, and so I know all these people from like all over, and like with very interesting like life experiences and stuff, especially especially the workers too, because they branch out into like other work after that. And so I'm just like, I know all these interesting people. I'm like, why don't I do something with that, apart from having a free place to stay? Whenever I go places, I'm like, why don't I also do a podcast? And I've had two of them on, I've also had two staff that I haven't put on here yet. So like, I'm gonna there's gonna be some of them, and then some of other people like the politician, the voice people. I like talking to different people and like getting their perspectives on things and stuff like that. So it just felt like a common sense thing for me to, and everybody has a podcast. So,
Well, that's nice, man. That's nice. Well, I really haven't met anyone with a podcast, so you're the first. But yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. I subscribed to your YouTube and everything. I was like, yeah, let's get that done. But
oh,
yeah.
cool. Yeah. So, I like how simple your voice sounds. Like you don't try to do like a bunch of like riffs and stuff though. Like I like it's just like very straightforward. Like
Yeah, comfortable.
to me, it sounds like really deep, and it's interesting because like you're so young. Like how old are you anyway? I'll do
21.
21.
Yeah.
It sounds like you've experienced like deep love or deep pain. Is that true, or do you just like somehow tap into that when you tap into the lyrics?
And it's weird, not really. It's just usually I grab my guitar. Like the way it works is I grab my guitar and I start doing whatever chord progression I can get, right? And usually there is like soul rock type of chord progressions that I like a lot. And you can't be like lovey-dovey with those chords, right? So I just spit whatever comes out, and usually things like that come out, right? And it's very interesting for me, so I just go with it. And I remember there's like a few phrases that I like a lot that just came out of nowhere, and I'm like, all right, let me write it down. And I grab my phone, I write it down, and I leave it, right. I'm like, okay, so what can go after that? And I just keep on talking, just whatever comes out. And when you know it, it's like a kind of like a little bit of a story, and which I had no plan or intention of doing. It just popped out, and you're like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like I just made a song about a guy making a deal with the devil. It was like I did not go into that with that expectation at all. I just went in to see what rhythm I would find, and I came out with those lyrics. Like, okay, let's put it out, right? Like it sounds good. It has some good phrasing, and I don't know, it gets you. I like it. I really like it. So that's kind of how it works for me. Not because I personally experience it, but it just works,
Yeah. So is it like that's so weird? Is it like an intellectual thing then? Like you have like this stuff in your head, and it's just like it's coming out as you go, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So actually have my guitar over there, but I had just got it, right, and I was playing this chord progression, and I was like, what could be nice, right? And out of nowhere, I was like, and I may be no king was something I was singing, and my mind was like King, Game of Thrones. I was like, bend the knee is the thing they would always say. It's like a but you're bending your knee, and I kept on writing on off of that, right? So it's just it kind of like grasp whatever you have. It's like, okay, this makes sense. Just go for it, and if it doesn't, then scratch it and start over. But it usually does make sense. So it's just like linking different thoughts together, and it just happens. It doesn't really like I don't look for it. It just does. So that's kind of what I like about it. That's why I make it my hobby, because it's more of a relaxed thing for me, because I just go for it and I just play, and I don't really stress myself over like what rhymes with this, what rhymes with that, what should I put now. It's just whatever comes out, and if it sounds good, then let's do it, and let's upload it, see what people think, and yeah, right.
Yeah, that's crazy. You'll have to send me recordings because like, with all this talk about your singing, like people will need to. They'll be like, "I want to hear this." So yeah,
Definitely.
we'll have to like splice it in somewhere.
Sounds good. I'll send you what I was working on a few minutes ago, and I'll ask for your opinion on that.
Yeah, cool. So you post a lot on Instagram. Like the snippets are too small. I'm like, I want to hear the rest of it. Do you post anywhere else, or is it just Instagram?
Not really. Yeah, just Instagram. I was planning on doing like a YouTube channel where you're actually recording it and leaving it like the full songs and Spotify and things like that. But I've never really gotten like the time to do it. I remember there was this coworker who had this like recording studio, right? And he was like, "Dude, I just heard you sing, and I never knew you sung. Like, come over. You have to record it, and let's upload it together and whatever." And we went. I recorded it, but what's it called? The way he edited it and a lot of different things. Like, I like usually like uploading my own things and the snippets because it's just like no filter whatsoever. It's just my guitar and myself and my voice, and I don't edit whatever like at all. But there's like a lot of things that he added and a lot of distortion like to certain points of the voice that it was like, nah, that's not. I didn't like it, right? So I have to find someone who actually leaves my voice as it is. Because I don't like artists that sound very good and then you go listen to them in a concert and it's just like they made that. It's like that voice does not go with whatever I heard before, right? So I want to be able to sing my own songs and have it like people hear it the same way. So usually I get very excited when I do a snippet. So I just record it and I'm like, I need people's opinions. Let me post it, right? And that's kind of the way it goes. I don't really have a lot of time to like edit it or whatever. So it's just like I literally grab like a chair and I sit down, put my camera on the table, and I'm like, all right, just record and then put it, post, and we're good. And that's basically it, right?
Yeah. If you ever want music uploaded, we'll put it on this channel if you want to. I don't care. I won't change anything.
That'd be nice.
That is the sign of like a good singer, though, because so I don't want to bash her because I like the edited versions and everything, but like Evanescence, like
Oh,
the girl she can't sing in front of an audience. Like
yeah.
I've heard her live stuff, and I'm like, man, this is horrible. Like I do think that's the sign of a good singer is that they can sing like before all of that stuff goes into it. Like Justin Bieber, he can just like shoot off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you've played in front of some crowds too, though, right?
Yeah, I've played a few. There's certain cafes in the city and certain restaurants that have gone by and let me like sing, right? Some have hired me, and some come out of this like out of nowhere, and it's pretty good. I like it. There's this cafe here in what we call Kayala. It's this like mini mall, right? But I like it. They have like this thing for musicians to sing and whatever, and people just go and they drink a coffee and they listen. It's like a small little shop, but like they had this lineup, right? And they were like, "We want to listen to your songs. Like, do you want to play?" I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." Right? You have a guitar and everything. Let's go ahead and get it done, right? And the people before me, they started singing, and there was like 4 or 5 people coming in. They were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." They sat down. When it came to me, I got my guitar and I was like, "All right, so how much do I have?" They're like, "Yeah, 10, 15 minutes." I'm like, "All right, let's see what I can do, right?" And I started singing, and I usually get lost when I sing. Like I close my eyes, I just look into the guitar. I look up again, and the place was packed, and like outside was people like just grouping up, like who's singing, right? And that was the first time I've ever played in a crowd, so it was just like, oh man, that's a pretty nice feeling, just seeing how everyone got up. And as soon as I got down, everyone was like, "Do you have a band? Do you want to make a song with me? Do you want to do this?" I was like, "Oh, it's pretty cool, right? Sure, we can maybe do something together." And look, I have this restaurant in Antigua, Guatemala, which is a different place. Do you want to go play there? I'm like, we would pay you handsomely. I'm like, okay, I would like that. And I go. It's pretty nice. It's like full liberty to play whatever I want, so that's pretty nice. I can do my own things, and that's kind of the thing that I like the most, right? Because everyone's like, for some reason, everyone when they hear me sing, they always ask for Ed Sheeran. So it's always Ed Sheeran that I usually play, and every now and then I throw one of my songs in, and it's cool because every time I go down, they're like, "Hey, just a question, like, what was that like third song you played?" It's like it's really good. I'm like, "Oh, that's mine." They're like, "Oh, it's pretty good." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." So it makes me feel good that way, and I get to share it, right? So and it's money, so you know.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you feel nervous when you start, or no?
Well, at first, yeah. I mean, when it's like the first time, it's just going up, and well, you don't know how people are gonna react. You don't know what music they like, right? Because maybe you're good at your music, but they have different tastes in music, and they'll just like drink their coffee or they'll just keep on talking or whatever, which is normal in a restaurant or a cafe, right? But you have these expectations or whatever, like these images in your head. So usually when I go up, I start introducing myself, and I'm very nervous. Just like, "Hey, yeah, my name is Juda. I write songs, I play some covers. Like, let me start with this, and you can ask for whatever song you like. If I know it, let's go ahead and do it." And everyone's like, "Okay, just whatever." I sit down, and when I grab my guitar, everything's like normal. Like I forget that I'm in a crowd. So it's just back to me with my guitar and playing. It's um I remember a friend of mine had mentioned like this. There's like a quote, something like that. It's like an extension of yourself, right? So when you grab something that you've been accustomed to your whole life, it's just you feel like it's part of you. It's you're comfortable, and that's kind of what happens with me with the guitar and with the piano or with the microphone, right? So I get kind of lost there, and it's pretty cool that way.
Yeah. Um, I used to sing when I was younger in the church that I was at, and like my heart would always beat really, really fast. And then like when you start though, it's just like, and then
Yeah,
then
right.
it's over. Like you don't really think about it as you're doing it, and then or
Mhm.
at least for me, and then like when it's over, it's like, but like it was a good feeling though. So
Yeah,
I just kind of wanted to hear about yours, like what how you felt about it.
yeah. We're kind
Uh,
of going through the same route.
well, my voice changed when I was young though, and then ever since then I never did again because like it was totally different.
Man,
But
I was worried about that because I sung like ever since I was like 8. So it was like when my voice changes, I'm like, fuck, how am I gonna keep it up, right? For some reason, my voice when I kept on singing, it was just it was still good, right? So I was like, okay, it shouldn't matter. And then when I would talk, I would have like this little hiccups, right? Growing up, but when I would sing, I would have zero hiccups, and it was just like I can sing fluently per se, but I can't talk fluently, so it was weird. But at least that remained.
yeah, so I actually I actually auditioned. And a lot of people don't remember this, and I usually don't bring it up, but I actually auditioned for American Idol.
Oh, really?
I just wanted to do it. I'm like, this is a it seems like a cool experience. And so I went there and actually Brent he went there too, but
Wow.
like we went separately uh because we at that time we weren't like that good of friends yet. We became friends later. But you go through and you come up in front of them and cuz it's not the actual judges.
Mhm. The
It's like in
casting.
a big auditorium and they have like 9 tables set up and with like 5 judges or something. And you come up to them and they have like you sing and then like somebody else, like 5 people in a row. And then they basically tell you all no at the same time.
Wow.
They're like, thank you all for coming. We do pass or whatever.
Oh my God.
And like hardly anybody gets through, but it's crazy though. And I shouldn't have gotten through, but
You
like,
got through?
no, I said I should not have. I
Oh,
didn't either. But in the building, like there's all the and there's like a bunch of really good black girls that sing. I don't know why, but like, and they're everywhere, and they sound like angels. It's like, oh my god! But it's like none of them get through though. And I'm like, but you put through like these like crazy horrible singers though, like just to for like ratings or whatever.
yeah.
But like, it's funny too because Brent made an excuse. He's like, "Yeah, like my table was just saying no to everybody." I was like, every table was saying no to
Yeah,
everybody. It was
man, that's pretty cool. At least you got to this one. We don't have things like that over here, right? So it's like for me, like it's just impossible. I remember they brought like this thing to one of the malls here. It was like The Voice, and they had this contest, and you would audition and whatever. I was like, oh man, right? And my friends were like, you gotta go try it. And I went in, and they were like, all right, so this is a thing you have to sign. I'm like, so it's what is this, right? Because they wouldn't say anything. It's like, oh, it's like you go in, you do your audition, and you have like this green screen behind you, so it looks like the stage, and we upload it to like the Instagram. Like that's it. They're like, yeah. Okay, so it's like no audition or whatever. I'm like, what's the contract for? I'm like, they're like, it's just so we can use your image or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm like, if it's not anything related to like the program or whatever, like an actual opportunity, I'm like, why would people? But it was just filled and packed with people because that's the only thing that came to Guatemala, right? So people were excited. They were like, oh, this might be it, right? And people were just lining up and lining up. And I remember the time I saw it, I was like, that would be cool to audition, right? But we don't have that sort of opportunity yet.
that's so weird because they do have the voice in like other countries and stuff like
Yeah.
the voice Ireland and France and like all this stuff. I'm surprised there's not one for Guatemala.
Man, Guatemala is like the country that they skip for all sorts of things. It's like they go from the States to Mexico and then they just skip Guatemala. Always for everything, for concerts, for events. Like it's always we get skipped for a lot of things, right? And it sucks. Um like music wise, concerts and everything, there's a lot of what we call reggaeton. and I really don't like that music. But what's it called? One band came that I did like, and there was Maroon 5. And when they announced they were coming, I was like, I gotta go. Like this is the one time that they didn't skip Guatemala, right? And when it came to the date, they canceled. I'm like, fuck, all right. So why did they cancel? There was like a lot of politic related like events going on here, and it wasn't really that safe. But then like 2 years after they came, and I was able to go. And but since I've been to Guatemala, that's been the only concert for me. And not because like my personal things, but not a lot of people come, so that kind of sucks here too. But
Yeah, I guess because of the violence and stuff, like they don't want to get mugged or whatever.
yeah, and yeah, like I guess that's like most of it. And not a lot of people are like into the same type of music as the States people would like, right? Since it's a lot of Spanish speaking here, so there's a lot of Spanish type of songs that it's like there's like rap in Spanish as well, and people are big fans of that. So with a lot of people like that come, and that's something that does happen, right? But that's not my like my genre, right? So I can't really participate in.
Yeah. So your style is more like American, I guess, since you were kind of raised here.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, usually I don't listen to music in Spanish. It's usually just English.
It's kind of a unique blend than like, American type music, but like with your accent too and stuff like that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess that works out.
Who are some of your kind of big musical influences?
Ooh, biggest by far, Ed Sheeran. I'm a big fan of his music. I like his voice. I like his way of playing music. His ideology and how he writes music and his story and everything. Right? It's just, I like it. He's very, what's it called? He's very smart and like intuitive when it comes to lyrics. And I remember they came out with this documentary of him, like of how he wrote like his newest album, right? Not the one he's releasing right now, but the last one called Divide. And I was like, right, let's give it a look. And it was just basically the same thing that I was just mentioning. It's kind of what he does, but the difference is he has like of like 3 or 4 people that do the same thing, so he does it with them, and it's just very unique the way that they all do it. Right, one guy starts playing whatever chord, and then he just starts spitting out whatever comes to mind, and they're like, yeah, I like that phrase, write it down, and they keep on going. And that was the first time I ever like looked at someone and was like, that's pretty cool, because like I can relate to that. I feel like that's the exact way that I did it intuitively as well. And his music, I really like it. Like if there was an Ed Sheeran concert over here or whatever, I would definitely go. But yeah, that's been one of like the newest like main influences. And growing up, I was a huge fan of Freddie Mercury. So his voice is just, you know, it's Freddie, right? So every time I would listen to it, it was just like, wow, that like, he literally uses his voice as his own instrument. It's his voice alone could do so much. It was so powerful, right? And I wanted to be able to see how that felt, like being able to sing and such a beautiful thing come out, right? And out of nowhere, like he was just into it. Like you would see his concerts, like videos of his concerts where he would go into stage, and he was just like he was into it completely, and just he knew what to do, and he was enjoying it. You know, you could see it. And that was those were kind of like the two influences that I had.
Cool. How would you describe your style, like when you sing it? When you sing?
Oh man, it's a little bit of everything. Like depending on what you hear me playing, right? Like I play a lot of pop. Um, I play a lot of like soul, and like there's like I don't know what this genre is called. There's this band called Kaleo, which I'm a really big fan of, and but these have this like mixed genre that's they mix like kind of like soul and rock, like folk rock, and it's really good. I love that like by far, and usually my songs try to go to those tones, right? Um, so a lot of those stories are also like like going like to hell and back, or speaking of the devil and things like that. So it goes a lot with like folk rock. So that's kind of what I like. It's not powerful like with a lot of electric guitars or drums, but it still has that like rasp to it, but with an acoustic side. So that's kind of what I'm going for.
Yeah. Did you sing at your sister's wedding?
I do remember singing everybody.
I saw a post and it was like it looked like it was at her wedding. It was like you're singing,
Yeah,
but it it goes over to her and she's in her dress. I didn't know if that was like
Oh yeah.
after the wedding or like during it or what, but
All right. So the plan was originally I was gonna take my guitar to Costa Rica because it was in a different country, right? And I was gonna play while she was walking down the aisle. Here Comes the Sun from the Beatles, and we had this whole thing planned. I learned how to play it, and then when it came to the airline thing, they were like, yeah, so to take your guitar from Guatemala to Costa Rica, it's like $300. Like the guitars itself was like $150. I'm like $300. He's like, yeah, one-way trip, and then you have to bring it back. That's another $300. I'm like, man, so $600 to take my guitar. Should I just go and buy a guitar there? I was like, what are the options? I'm like, I don't know, and we have to find a guitar, and I didn't know. So at the end, they were like, we got to play it on the phone, right? So I just went and controlled the music at the wedding. But when we were like at the reception of the wedding, like afterwards, we went for dinner and everything, and there was this like group of people just playing guitar and the microphone. They had this mic and everything, right? And my dad went to like the host, and he was like, hey, my son plays guitar and he sings and he's actually really good. Like, would you let him play something? And they were like, no, let me talk to him, right? So they came to me and they were like, so you play, you sing? I was like, yeah. Are you any good? Like, well, you can listen, right? Here's my Instagram. Like, just click on whatever and let me know. They're like, all right, go. Like, here's the guitar, do whatever. I was like, oh, okay, thank you, right? And I didn't know what the hell to play. So my sister didn't know that anyway. So I went to the other place. It was like a little bit far from the table, like right at the corner, so they couldn't see me. And they called her like, so Lorena, like, please come over this side, right? We have a message or whatever. So she came, and then I was there with the guitar, and I remember her. We used to talk a lot about the song Hallelujah, and it kind of had like this little bond with us, right? So it felt right to sing that song. So I started singing, and everyone started recording, and I liked the snippet of it, so I was like, I might as well post it. It's a meaningful moment, so let me go ahead and put it that there. So that's kind of what happened. The restaurant ended up posting like their own video of like the music too, and they were like live music at this place or whatever. I was like, okay, whatever, use my image. But yeah, that's kind of what happened, and yeah, that was the song that I ended up playing.
that's funny. Okay, yeah, use my image. Don't pay me. That's cool.
It was all right. It was fun though.
Yeah. So you've also sang with no music, haven't you? Because like I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I heard one of those and I was like, dang.
Oh
Like that's
yeah.
pretty brave to sing like with no music at all, because then it's just strictly your voice.
Yeah, that's kind of the point of it. Because when it comes to that, there's nothing else to judge, right? If you like it, it's purely your voice. If you don't like it, again, it's purely your voice. So you know what to work on. So there are a lot of songs that I usually work on. Um, I don't remember the name of it. It's a There's a fire starting in my heart, and that's pure voice, right? And I usually go up, and if they ask me to sing, that's kind of the thing that I introduce myself, right? It's a strong type of voice that is needed, so I like it. And a lot of people were like, I remember you singing with no music, like you should upload something like that. And I think I did a few times. There's a song called Demons from Imagine Dragons, and it's really good. I like it a lot. And it's something that you can sing just pure voice, and I love it because of that. So it's something that I sing in my free time, and I thought I would post it, right? So that's that's more of what I do usually. Like when I don't have my guitar, it's just I sing, but I don't play a track like to replace the guitar. I rather just sing just myself, and that's basically how it goes.
Yeah, when you just sang that, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I know you can sing good, like I know it, but like when you just like bust it out like that, I'm like, "Jeez!"
Man,
Like
yeah, it's nice.
like
It's a lot easier too. I
I
remember
thought,
I had to audition for this place. They were giving out like scholarships for music or whatever, and they were like, you have to sing with no guitar, no piano, no anything for 1 minute, and you have like five judges who will grade them, and the first place will get a full scholarship, and then the rest will like thank you, right? So I lived very close to it, so I was like, I might as well. So I asked, I was like, so what do I need to bring? They're like, you can't bring a guitar, you can't bring a piano, you can't bring anything. You just sing and you prepare your own thing, right? I was like, okay, let's get it. And I thought of mixing a few songs. So I had like in 1 minute I like mix Havana, Shape of You, and River, which is another song from Eminem and Ed Sheeran, and all in a minute. And I went in, and I remember when I went in, everyone had their guitar and their piano. I was like, what? They told me I couldn't bring anything, right? And they were like, well, they brought it. We're not going to say no. I'm like, man, I should have brought something. So I went after all these people who had their own instruments and their own. It sounds a lot better with instruments, right? And I went in and I was like, okay. So they're like, your instrument? I'm like, I was told not to bring an instrument. Like, oh yeah, I mean, those are the rules. I'm like, all right. So like, so what are you gonna sing? I'm like, I'm gonna mix a few songs, and I sang, and after a few weeks, I won the thing, right? So they were like, yeah, you have like a scholarship here, but you have to attend like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, like from 7 to 4. I was like, I have work. Like I really can't, right? They're like, do you have like these options? Are they optional? They're like, no, you have to be every day because we have to do a lot of things. We do like a lot of image thing, like a lot of marketing. Like they release a few artists in Guatemala. They're kind of famous. But what's it called? They're like, you have to be here every day at this time, like on point. It's kind of like another job thing, right? But you're paying for it and whatever. Well, I wasn't gonna be paying for it, but I was just like, no, I can't do that. So I really had to let that go, and it went like to second place. They passed it down, and the second place is a friend of mine, so he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool and whatever. But yeah, that was the first time I ever had to like audition just purely with my voice, with no track, and it went good for me. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's really, it just sounds to me like it's just a matter of getting the opportunity and being able to actually, go along with it, like
Yeah.
timing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you mentioned Costa Rica earlier. What are some cool travel experience? I always meant to ask that of everybody that I talk to. I just like travel. So, what's some of the coolest traveling that you've done?
By far, my favorite place is in Guatemala. It's called Petén Tikal. Um, I used to be a big fan of, Indiana Jones is still a George Lucas thing. So archaeology and all those things is just, it's very interesting, right? The way that they used to live, their temples and everything. So Tikal is basically ruins for Mayan temples. And my God, there's a lot of story there. I mean, it's super high. So you go there with like a t-shirt and whatever. You have to climb these giant temples, but they're very beautiful. And you see all this story, and we hired a tour guide with us, and he would go by every single thing. Like this is where they made their sacrifices. This is where the beheading would happen. This is where they would place their heads. This is where they would do certain dances and certain rituals, like birthing processes and things like that. And it's very, very, very unique. I really like it. And walking, it's like pure jungle. So when you go into it, I remember hearing they have jaguars, like wild jaguars, just going by. So your tour guides are like ready for those scenarios. So you hear it's like it's roar and they're them purring, and it's just so strong. It just goes throughout the whole jungle, right? And you're just terrified. The first time I heard it, I just thought like I just got stuck. I was like, "Is that a jaguar?" He's like, "Oh yeah, they're like all over the place." Like, what do we do? He's like, well, it sounds very close, so let's try just to move silently. I'm like, just that's your solution? I'm like, okay, all right, let's move silently. And but it was really cool. We caught a glimpse of it, and just seeing things in wildlife itself, like in their natural habitat, is just beautiful. So I really enjoyed that trip. That's by far my favorite, like of all.
Yeah. Do you have any bucket list places, things that places you want to go to?
I want to go to Sweden, and I want to go to Greece. Those are the two things that are usually my bucket list, like for their architecture and the climate and thing. It's very, very like it calls you out on you, right? And the last thing that I wanted to do as well, it's not like a travel destination type of thing, but it's because I'm a Star Wars geek. Disney came up with this like Star Wars land. It's called Galaxy's Edge, and man, I really want to go. Like that looks like for a fan to go into like an actual world of Star Wars. That's like a dream, right? So I really that's like in between the top, but because of nerdiness, not because of like their culture or whatever. Then it's like Greece and Sweden.
Yeah. Um, do you ever plan on moving back to the U.S. or are you just in Guatemala now for the rest? You think?
If I could, I would love to go back to the States. Mainly, well, not specifically right now. I have a good position in my job. I usually got promoted, so that's really nice. I'm making it nice over here, but like to start a family and things like that, I would not like to raise a family where you have to put your phone away every time you go out. It's I don't think it's a safe place, right? So I would love to move back to the States and like start things over, right?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Georgia?
Georgia is like for me. I already know Georgia, and people are really nice. Like when people talk about the states here, they're like, I had a lot of experiences. There's a lot of people that are very racist. There are a lot of people there are a lot of bullies and whatever. I had none of that. Like I would go and people were just very, very, very nice. And I remember the Hispanics in my school, they would be separated because of themselves. Like they would choose to be separated. They would go to their own table and whatever. And it wasn't because people were racist or anything. In Georgia, there was like I never met a racist person in Georgia, and they were very kind. So I would just go and I would hang out with whoever. It was very nice. I never got bullied or anything. I never saw a bully in my school. So that's kind of like perfect. Like if you want to make like to raise a family, right? Um, so I would love to go specifically to Georgia, actually.
Yeah, always been kind of oblivious to that stuff. Like, I would just come and sit down at the Hispanic table and talk to them. And like, when I used to work at that boarding school, I would take all the black kids, like 5 of them or something, and go to the black barber shop, and I would just sit there, and I'd be totally comfortable. They like after they'd be like, "You don't even care." I'm like, "Why would I care?"
And that's like a lot of people in Georgia are like that, and that's nice. That's a whole lot better than a lot of other people. So I like that. Like specifically for people like that, I would go back.
Yeah. So, do y'all ever look at us like with some of the stuff that we have going on, and you're just like, "Oh my god,"
I
like
mean, well, we
the
can't really
capital
like talk
attack
about.
and like how they're doing COVID and everything else. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we're not doing so well over here, so it's like we're not in a talking position. But when it comes to like things like with Trump, I mean, everyone talks, right? So that's like the thing. Like when they were first elected him, like wasn't he a TV host? They're like, yeah, and they really elected him. They're like, yeah, like he has no political experience, no, and they elected him. They're like, yeah, and people are very behind him. They're like very like hard believers in Trump. And you over here, you look at it and it's like, why? But over here, I'm not sure if you knew this, but we had an actual clown. Like his professional job was he was a clown, and he became president. So we really can't talk. We have no standing ground on that. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing that a lot of people talk about over here, which is like the whole Trump and Biden situation that went on. So yeah.
that's hilarious. We had a clown too, so it's cool. So, most important question: DC or Marvel?
DC. For me, I'm
See,
DC.
I think DC TV show, comic books, things like that, but Marvel, I think, does the better movies.
Yeah, movie wise, they have a lot more. Like the whole new Avengers series when it came to like Endgame. I mean I'm not a ginormous fan of Marvel, but I really enjoyed the movies, and I'm watching WandaVision right now, and I'm liking it so far. It's good. Um, but I'm a big sucker for Batman, so I
Yeah,
had to
I
always.
think the characters are way better with DC. Like, I resonate with the characters a lot more with DC.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? They're a little bit more dark too, so it comes to like more of a like I don't know realistic situation, I guess you would say in their own terms, right? Not realistic, but more realistic. But yeah, I enjoy both of them, but I would have to side with DC.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a spiritual person?
Not really.
That's cool. Yeah, I used to be. I'm not so
I
much
remember.
anymore. I think the last 4 years, seeing how like the religious community kind of like loved Trump and gave him a big bear hug, I've
Yeah.
kind of like I'm just separating a little bit. And um, but yeah, what are some big things that you've learned over the last few years? I always ask people that too. That's one of
All
the
right.
things I just ask everybody because usually people end up giving good answers. So
All right. For me, basically, the biggest thing, the biggest few things is confidence in yourself, and always go for whatever opportunity you're going for. Right. Um, more times than less, you're gonna end up getting what exactly you're planning for, where you're going out for, and I guess that's some of the things that I've learned. I've seen a lot of people miss opportunities because they had this mindset that I'm not gonna get that job, I'm not gonna get this thing, I'm not gonna be able to do that, and I kind of just go for it, right? It's just well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, right? You didn't waste too much of your life per se, and I think that's gotten me to where I am right now, and that I have to say that that's kind of my thing for that I've learned for myself, right? Just confidence in yourself, go for whatever you need to. Like never just be afraid of doing it, right? Like the worst thing that can happen is you don't get it, and or you don't do it, but at least you can say you tried, and that itself, it's better than not ever trying, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
What are some of your big goals for 2021?
2021, hopefully I can make that video that I was talking to you about, and well, that's kind of like music wise, that's my main thing. Collection wise, I'm starting a big collection of like suits. So I'm having a lot of things getting done. I want to have one of the biggest collections, or the biggest collection in Guatemala. So far, I do have the biggest collection in clone helmets, which are in 1-to-1 scale. Which for me, it sounds really good, right? You're able to say that, but there's a lot of competition, so I kind of want to do that as well. And yeah, just growing my job, right? My job is basically like 70% of my time, and I've grown so far. I'm the youngest person in my position in the company that has ever been there, so that's really nice. And I do plan on growing more in the future. Right?
Yeah, what I hadn't even asked about that. What is your company? Like, what do you do?
Oh.
I didn't even think about that.
So it's a contact center. We usually deal with like companies like JCPenney, Fossil, things like that, that they hire us to do like their customer service. So we have like a lot of teams that take calls, that do emails, that do chats. You know, the usual thing that people think of, like when they call customer service, they're like, oh, they're somewhere else. Yeah, that's kind of us. So my position is what we call a senior leader. So there's like like temporary agents, supervisors, like certain supervisors, and then there's like senior supervisors. So that's currently where I'm at, and there's like 2 more levels that I can go up, and I'm pretty much set. But I really do enjoy my job. It's more of looking at how we can manage all these contacts, and how we can implement like pricing and making sure everyone's happy at their job. It's kind of the thing that people do in Guatemala. If you know English, you go work at a call center, and because it's paid, it's pretty much paid like at a high rate here, and it's very easy, right? A lot of people get that done very fast, and you grow, like I'm telling you. So that's kind of what I do, and it's a lot of administrative work, but I really enjoy it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so one last question, and then I'll kind of plug your Instagram. But and if it's no, it's fine. And I can also edit it out, you being like, nah, I don't think so. But I was gonna see if you could sing a little bit, because like, I mean, just earlier when you sang, I was like, oh shit, he can just pop off, like he doesn't even need a microphone or anything.
All right. Let me get my guitar. Give me one second.
Yeah, and I can edit it too, to where it's like just like pop, you're here.
Right.
Yeah, that didn't take too long. I won't need to edit that.
Yeah, we're good. Let's see. All right, I think I know what song to sing. Let's see. All I am is a man. I want this world in my hands. I hate the beach, but I stand in California with my toes in the sand. Use the sleeves of my sweater. Let's have an adventure. Head in the clouds, but my gravity centered. Touch my neck, and I'll touch yours. You and those little high-waisted shorts. Oh, she knows what I think about. What I think about. One love, 2 months, 1 love, 1 house. No shirt, no blouse, just as you find out. Nothing that I wouldn't want to tell you about, no. And it's too cold for you here and now. So let me hold both your hands in the holes of my sweater.
Wow. That's so crazy that you can just do that. Like, you know, most people need to like to set up all this stuff first and all this. You can just pop off with it. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah. So your Instagram, it is sj_fm.2020. A little complicated, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to plug? Any other? I think that's about it that you post music on and stuff.
Yeah, I usually just post there, so that's good. that should be enough.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on. You're one of my favorite guests that I've had on so far. Like even with like all the celebrities and everything. So yeah, thanks for coming.
Thank you. Means a lot.